So we're going to talk about the Freightliner here. What year is it?
83.
83 FLA, right? Or FLB? It'd be FLA, I think.
FLA 8664.
Okay. So it's 86-inch sleeper, right?
86-inch cab.
Oh, okay.
The whole cab's 86 inches,
Okay.
not the sleeper.
Right. Because the 104 was the big bunk.
Yep.
Okay. So she's always been a single stack.
Yep.
350 or 400?
350. Big cam 3.
Okay. Not a formula?
Nope.
Okay. So she'll rev up if you want her to.
Yep.
You got a different button in the pump now. She's maybe a little above 350.
Yeah, I had the pump off and took it down to Rochester fuel injection.
Yep.
And I said, build it about 10% up. Of course, how are you going to tell bobtailing?
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. In the 9.5 out of 10, that's
Yeah, we're kind of missing one finger a little bit.
corn picker?
No, actually, you see that finish mower out there on my tractor?
Yep.
I was out mowing in the woods one day. It was even on a Sunday. And I thought I had a stick stuck underneath, so I got off and I had my headphones on. I forgot to turn it off and I stuck my hand under there.
Ooh.
And in the words of Nate Faldy's 4-year-old at that time, he said, "Why didn't you shut the tractor off?" Yeah. Shut up, kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even a 4-year-old is smart enough to do that.
Right.
So it hacked this one off. It got into these couple little bit. It ended my hand modeling career.
Yeah. Yeah.
But worse things have happened.
Well, you're alive to tell it.
It'd be a better story if I'd have said I lost it restoring this truck.
Right.
But
you own this truck twice.
yeah,
Right?
Tim and I bought it in about, would have been probably 87. It was an old Lend-Lease truck when Lend-Lease was in business. So they would have gotten rid of them in probably 3 years or something like
Yep.
that. And so ran it several years and then sold it with a trailer to Faldy's.
So that corn husker was your old trailer then too,
Yeah.
because they pulled a corn husker
Yeah.
with it.
Yep.
Okay. So it was light. You could 1,000 bushel was no problem.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I'm assuming it was pretty light. Although the old corn huskers weren't as light as the new ones are.
Okay. But this truck was light.
Yeah. So they used it for several years and then parked it. And when I bought it back from them, it had been sitting in the woods for 11 years.
Yeah. Was one window down or something maybe too?
Oh, it
or-
might have been. It might have been. I mean, and you know what's out in the woods? There's animals.
Yeah.
There's a kind that crap all over everything, and then there's a kind that chew wires.
Yep.
It wasn't too bad. Freightliner, in their infinite wisdom, on the doghouse, there's a permanent wiring diagram on the back side of that.
Yep.
What a godsend. If you knew how many hours I sat and looked at that,
Yeah.
a lot. There weren't too many wires chewed off, but there was a bunch. But so yeah, bought it back from them, and I spent 2.5 years on this.
And it was so like when Faldy's had it, it was all white. It
Yep.
Probably because Lend-Lease would have been all white,
Yep.
right?
It was all white.
Okay. And that paint scheme that's on now, is that one of the Freightliner schemes?
No,
Okay.
this is a exact copy of the way our 73 was painted. It
Okay.
had been painted when we bought that 73. And so I had a picture of it, and the guy that painted it from the picture.
Okay.
The only thing it didn't have on was a gold stripe. I put that on, that's vinyl. 'Cause
Okay.
it's just too much work to paint a small stripe like that.
Well, yeah, when them, and people take it for granted, the old trucks had all these different colors.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, because you'd have to paint the whole truck that color, then you'd tape it off,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you'd paint the next stripe, tape it off.
Because I can remember one time, I hit somebody with we had to put the front corner in up there, and they had like 3 colors on it.
Yeah.
Just miserable.
Yeah,
The guy that painted this, he had a kid that's they said he liked to tape and stripe. So he got to do a bunch of it on this one.
Yeah, my old 359 has got main color, main stripe, and then the breaker stripe.
Yeah.
But I had that 78 362 Pete that the frame was one color, cab main color, and then 3 different stripe colors plus a breaker color in there.
Yeah.
It was almost, I think, 6 paint codes on that truck.
Oh, immense amount of work.
Yes.
Well, this one, I don't know. I got some pictures around here someplace. I should have taken a picture of it in the woods.
Right.
I didn't. Just didn't think of it.
Well, this, and you stretched it out. Lend-Lease never would have had anything like this.
Oh, I wish obnoxiously short.
Right, it was.
Yeah, it's cut right in here someplace. I went down to the guy down in O'Galley.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Anyway, he had
Bear.
the guy that's got the truck repair.
Yep, Bear.
Does the engines, yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, he had a Freightliner frame sitting there, front axle, the whole thing. And he said, you can have any length you want. So I said, cut me off 17 feet. And so I added about 100 inches. And actually, I bought the drive line from him down there too. So I had a drive line for it. And this is kind of a backwards way to do it, but we made the frame to fit the drive line so we didn't have to redo the drive shaft. It's a little more work.
Yeah.
Doing it that way. But yeah. So
it's modern airliner because this.
Yeah.
Did this have the double convoluted?
Yeah, it did. And the suspension was bad. The back rear end had a hole in it. Yeah, they were not a real good suspension anyway.
No, and did that have the old SQ100?
Yep.
Rear ends.
Because I can remember, I think one of our drivers twisted the front rear end shaft off in one of those one time. They weren't real heavy.
No.
And these are Rockwells under here.
Okay. Yeah,
And then
did it have Rockwell or Eaton brakes? Because like Pete will do that where they're Eaton brakes and
that old Freightliner had Eaton brakes in it, and they were no good. It wouldn't stop good. That was back in '73.
okay.
And then, you didn't see a lot of Eaton brakes.
Packard, it seemed like liked them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Eaton brakes were better than the P-Series Rockwells because they were so miserable to change with that pin.
Right. And the Eatons always didn't have the solid pin in.
Right.
And now, this might have, I don't remember. Nah, this has got to have Q's on it because they're Rockwell, your rear ends. So that's what it would have is Q's. Oh, I remember that, pounding them solid anchor pins.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. Get the torch out and heat them red hot.
Yep.
Man, that was almost as great a deal as Unimount hubs.
Yeah. Bud wheels. So when you switched it, you got to go to hub piloted instead of stud piloted.
Oh, yeah. Well, back in the day, the big thing was going to tubeless tires.
Right. Did you have some split rims around?
No. Yeah, we did. That old Freightliner, we switched that over to tubeless
Okay.
right away, just about.
We should look at the front.
Yeah.
So you put modern fuel tanks on it too, huh?
No, these are the original.
Oh, they are.
No, they're not.
I was
They're not.
gonna-
No,
That cap is.
yeah, that's new. Yeah, these I got out of a boneyard someplace.
Okay.
Yeah, because it only had one tank on it. It had one of the big round short
Yep.
ones. Yeah. So they're not original.
What I like about the FLA is I like the headlights so much better. The round
Yeah,
headlights.
they do look nicer. I replaced the headlight buckets. Actually, the buckets I got online and they list them for $359,
Right.
but they're all the same.
Yep. I forget what company it was that made them, but I've got them on,
Then this original bumper,
Aluminum bumper.
aluminum bumper.
Yep, that's not chrome.
Nope.
What I always loved about the earlier Freightliner Cabovers is this big.
Now, all this aluminum, this grill, and the door handles were all anodized aluminum.
Yep.
You have to sand all that off. I can tell you, like one of those door handles would take me 2 hours
Yeah.
to sand it and polish it. Same way with the visor is aluminum. That was painted, and we took all the paint off it.
Okay.
It's all water spotted underneath.
Did you keep the diamond tuck
Had it made.
pattern? Yeah, Freightliner had
Oh, these.
the nicest interiors at one time.
This piece is original.
Okay.
This piece right here. That's the only part. I had
The diamond headliner remade.
everything in this cab has been redone.
Yeah.
I put, when I took all that stuff out of here, there was no insulation in these things,
Right.
like none. So I put hush mat
Yep.
and 1/2-inch carpet mat in the whole cab. It's quieter now than it was new,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
Yeah, that's like my 359 is completely original and chill. It's not the quietest truck in the world, but
yeah.
I love my 359.
Well, yeah.
Like-
yeah. And then I redid the air conditioning. And the air conditioning works, the heat stuff works. Had to put a power steering sector on it. I had to rebuild this stuff in here, and I'm still not happy with it because you see how narrow they are?
Yep.
And originally this and the brake treadler were cast into one piece.
Oh,
And
yep.
that was all rotten in there. Bob Seabean over here built me that triangle piece underneath that the foot feed is in.
Yep.
And I had to put that foot feed together because it broke in 2 pieces. And I have trouble with the brake pedal. I couldn't move it any further this way because I ran into interference with the steering shaft.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff that takes just gobs of time.
And yeah,
Just
the knowledge of these trucks and stuff is hard to find now.
Yeah, I
'cause-
mean, I was lucky, all this dash stuff is all the same as an FLD,
Yep, absolutely.
and the parts are just stupid cheap.
So if you, I think what year was it? 82 when they went
changed.
to this dash, right?
81 or 82.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you'll find some of the late 70s that had bulkhead doors like this.
Yeah.
I mean, always, even these doors, they don't close like a Kenworth. Everybody always made front of Freightliner doors, and that you had to slam them really hard.
But no, I know
But, they were quite a truck in their day. Well, there was a bazillion of them around.
yeah.
Now, the other thing, this didn't have lights like this originally.
Right.
And then I had to you get over here and see my messy part of the shop, but, I'll show you over here the piece. I had to put this piece right here in that comes around the corner. This was all broke out because there'd been some cows next to it. And the handles were always broke on these.
Yes.
Because they didn't move very easy. So I had to put this piece in. There's a cool thing called a shave head rivet. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. No, somebody's texting me again. Okay. Be quiet. You can't tell the difference between them and aluminum rivet, but they're like a pop rivet.
Okay.
They got a O-ring under the head, and the pin breaks off that far above the head, and you can just sand it down.
Oh, yep.
And you can't tell.
So then you don't need
the other
to huck
side. You don't need. Well, none of these are hucks. They're all aluminum.
Okay.
So you got to get in backside and buck them.
Oh,
And there are some places that are not very easy to get to.
Right.
And it takes 2 people to do it. And for something like this, it's not extremely structural. they're okay.
Yep.
But slick deal. Slick
Huh.
deal.
Well, I think my battery's about
But getting
dying here, but
gonna
yeah,
die.
we had to show this that
Yeah, and Nate Faldy's little guy, the guy that asked me why I didn't shut the tractor off, I got his name on the door on the other side.
okay.
He is crazy about Cabovers.
I know.
And I told him he could have the first ride. And he did. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know Nate was telling.
He's really shy, but it started out, he got fascinated with my finger. And so we're buds now, and he's not so much now, but when he was younger, the one where the kid grabs on your leg and stands behind you.
Yeah.
That was him. But we're friends. I really like Cam.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, this is,
it's good there's still people that'll appreciate this stuff.
yeah, there's a few, it's kind of fun to take them to shows, because you would not believe the number of people that come up to me and say, man, I drove one just like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Or that's what I started in.
Yep.
And, when we go to truck shows, kids want to sit in it. Yeah, go ahead, sit in it, get your picture taken. It's not don't put your fingerprint on it.
Right.
It's
funny how kids are with trucks because like my girls don't care much about the farm, but they'll jump in the truck with me. And
today down at Red Wing, I was in the corn line, and there's a young woman there with probably a 2 or 3 year old sitting on the wall, one in a stroller. So I went over and talked to her, and her little daughter liked trucks.
yeah.
And if I'd had some more time, I'd have told her she could come over and sit in it. But, I just didn't have the time.
Yep.
But I don't mind kids doing that. I think that's kind of cool.
No, I loved that stuff when I was a kid.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. And maybe that's why I'm where I'm at today. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's how I got into trucks when, farming and trucking have been, kind of what I know, and tiling, I guess. But
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, farming and trucking are an awful lot alike.
yeah, they work very well.
The only difference is the trucking over the road stuff, you're not home at night.
Yeah.
But when I used to, run local, what is the difference between leaving at 5 in the morning and getting home at 9 at night and not being home? You get to take a shower in your own shower.
Right.
But otherwise, there isn't a lot of difference.
No. No, and I guess I was glad I did some of that when I was young, and I got to see a lot of things that I'd never.
Yeah, most of it I did the long stuff after I was 60.
Yeah.
Well, I got hurt when I was 60, so I didn't work for a year. So then I did all of it before I was 60. That's right. Because I don't think I hauled any poles again after I got hurt.
Okay. Yeah, trucking is, well.
It's everybody thinks, yeah, you just get in and sit there and drive, and
Yeah.
that's true to a point, but there's a whole lot of other part to it. Like you get home on Friday night and you spend all day Saturday in the shop,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you leave Sunday afternoon again.
I can remember 2014, we had spent a lot of money in like 2012 on the farm. Crop prices went down. We had a couple of bad weather years in there, and I remember that winter, trucking is going to make up for all the loss, and the regular freight that I was hauling had kind of gone away. That had gotten really slow, so I had to do California runs. And I would come in from California, and I had a 379 peat that I had used up an awful lot of that peat, and I would come in, and you'd get in on, Friday night or say Thursday night or something, and you'd wrench on that thing till it was about
Because
time to
it's
go.
got to go again.
Yeah.
No,
That's why I don't miss doing a lot of trucking, and like I hated it. If my truck goes down and I need it, it drives me nuts to work on the truck. But like when I don't need my 359 or I'm just hauling grain to Red Wing, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I always liked hauling grain, always
Yeah.
did. And this is fun doing this again,
Yeah.
you know, when my livelihood doesn't depend on it.
Right.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a connection there with farming and trucking.
well, yeah, I mean, got to know an awful lot of people because all the farms we went to in Pierce
Yeah.
County, that I didn't
Yeah.
know before. The early years, Tim and I hauled feed all winter. I mean, I've been to every little podunk feed mill in northwest Iowa and central Wisconsin that there is, I think. Spent a lot of time sitting in Mankato.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like farming and trucking both kind of one of them things that you either really like it or you don't.
Yeah, and yeah, you gotta like it or it's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah, you better enjoy it. Or
Yeah, because there are some days it's not much fun.
no, and if it's just a job to you, go drive a truck for somebody else as a company driver, or same with farming. If you just want to drive a tractor for somebody and
Yeah,
Do that.
tell you the truth, today I could probably make far more money driving somebody else's truck
yeah,
than my own. I could go to Walmart and make $110,000
yeah,
if you want to do it Walmart's way.
right, yeah, and I don't know, I can look back on my trucking times and I got to do some of the stuff I wanted to do, and
Yeah, I mean, I was gone a lot, especially the last years when I was flatbedding. My wife put up with a lot.
yeah,
I wasn't here a lot, and
that was the early years of my marriage with my wife. She had to put up with me doing a lot of that, and then I'd get home from that, and then it was a lot of farm work to do, and
yeah, and they say, "What are you doing this for?"
yeah, but
And I got to add another line down here now because I've got a great grandson. So I'm going to have to put some
There you go.
more room down here. I don't know. Well, that's my only granddaughter, and I don't know if she's that crazy about having her name on my truck or not. And the rest of them probably don't care.
right,
But I thought that was kind of cool
yeah.
to do that.
Well, they'll know that family connection.
Yeah.
None of them want a truck.
Oh, no, not even our own son. Never even asked about it. And you're right, I'm not so sure that I would recommend it. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean,
Yeah.
I've still got my authority. I put my authority on suspension because I didn't know if I was going to go back.
Yep.
Again, it's a whole lot easier to keep it than get it again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in some respects. Same way with a CDL. It's a whole lot easier to keep your CDL.
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid I'd flunk a test if I had to go take one. I got too many bad habits.
Right. Yeah. But like I
And,
said,
it was always, if your things really got hard up and down and out, I always said I could be in somebody's new truck by tomorrow morning.
yep.
I mean, if you really had to.
Yeah.
So,
It was a good way it was cash flow. It was always cash flow with it.
yep, as long as you got paid.
Right. Right. And that's but you're used to that with farming too.
Well, yeah.
You get
to a
paid.
point. Yeah, that's right.
So, okay, so I'm here with Charles Wiff, and behind you is a 4020. What year is it?
55? 65, okay.
You bought that tractor brand new.
Yeah,
So,
all before that we had Molines.
okay. You had some family connection to Minneapolis-Moline, didn't you?
An uncle was president of the company.
Really?
Yes, Minnie Whiff. Yep.
So did he live up there in like Hopkins?
Yep, till he retired.
Okay.
Then he went to California. Yeah, he and Grandpa sold machinery in Martell. for a while. You know, just small machinery. And then Uncle Nels started out with International Harvester, going around to dealers and collecting bills.
Okay.
And then kind of evolved from that. And I don't know how he got into Minneapolis-Moline, but anyway. I've talked with people many places where they knew him personally, because he'd travel out there. One place down here, and where all the Iowa down there, south of Dakota, Des Moines there, where there's a lot of farmers. They came from, was it either someplace in Europe? Anyway,
The Dutch.
yeah, and they farmed all together, and they were managed by somebody, because the farms were sort of, I don't know as they owned them, but anyway, they told them what to do. And the bell rang at noon, they come in to eat lunch, and they went out and worked, and women had to eat 2 years off when they had a baby. But the kids, the boys were told what they could do.
Wonder if that isn't the Amana colonies.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then,
was Moline, Minneapolis-Moline at one point I think was Twin City or Avery or some of the steam.
well,
And-
Twin City that was before them. That was thrashing, harvesting equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. And then got a Z or a R. That R little tractor was the handiest little tractor for doing small things. And just kept going along. Machinery was 40% off. Yeah.
Well, you're getting it direct from the
Yeah.
company.
I can remember my dad and my uncle went up to Hopkins to get one, and they drove it home from Hopkins.
Really?
Yes.
That's got to be 50 some miles, ain't it?
Oh, it says 70 miles.
Is it? Yeah.
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 Yeah, drove it home.
So then, what was the last Moline you think you would have had? So if this is 65, this 4020, were like the G900, G1000s, were they out yet? Okay.
Last one would have been M5. Maybe 4-star. One was
Well, they built up 1000s. Yeah, they were building them then. Yeah, because I know I tried to wholesale one of them, tried to get it from a Fink out here and get it sold over line, because tractors weren't available then, and make a bottom cheap and margins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in combines we started out with a little one and gradually got which one were they? Yeah, they were pull type with an engine on them. Yeah. All the neighbors called Minneapolis-Moline miserable machinery. But you know what? Moline's never had trouble with their transmissions. I can remember Irwin Geyser up there. About every other year, he'd have to have something done with an M, the rear ends on them. They were built with.
Did you ever have like a Unisystem Moline?
Nope. we had their balers and
Well, their corn, they were famous for their corn sheller, if I remember right.
corn sheller. Yeah, we had not an ag one, not on a tractor. No,
Yeah, a truck one?
no,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. They were.
They were well known for that. They did a good job. So then, how'd you end up with the 4020? Did your uncle retire from Minneapolis-Moline?
Let's see here. Well, they went to California, and he retired from them.
Okay.
But he traveled way up into Canada. You know,
Yep.
pushing machinery. In one place up there, talked to somebody. It was on when we went to Alaska, and his name was known up there
Okay.
for their thrash machines.
Yep.
Thrash machines back there. Yep. Yeah.
So then you lost your connection at Minneapolis-Moline. Is that why you ended up with a Deere?
Kinda, I suppose.
So a 4020 in 65. Where did this come from?
Baldwin.
From Meyer Implement.
Yes. Myers. Yes. Yep.
Stanley Meyer. So that was a good-sized tractor in 1965.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
So did you get a new plow when you got it?
No. I don't think I ever plowed with a Deere, with a Minneapolis, with that. The last time I can remember plowing is with a Minneapolis-Moline steam engine. And plowed with the 4-bottom plow. And anyway, I can remember riding his dad on that thing, and you just get it in the furrow, and it'd just go right down there. No problems.
So then when you guys did tillage then with this you were just disking and
Well, then we started to using what did they call that?
It was called a sidewinder, but it was strip tilt.
Yeah, you tilled a strip
Like a garden tiller.
oh
with tines like so, just like that. Yeah,
Like a garden tiller.
Yeah.
Strips about that wide.
okay. So
Yeah.
you guys were doing conservation
yeah.
tillage
Back then, yes.
way back when.
Yeah,
Yeah, there hasn't been
haven't plowed for.
plowed around here for a long, long time.
Nope.
Okay. So in 65, what were you guys were you dairy back then?
No.
65. When did 57, 8?
No, not that. Before I was born.
It was?
So you
Well, it was a year after my grandma died. The cows went.
so then what were you doing? Were you doing steers and
Yeah. Yeah.
and did you have cow calf pairs too? Running
Yeah,
beef
we
cows?
had, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and we were, good place to raise steers because we were only,
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest stockyards in the country was only, 40 miles.
Yep. Yes.
So right up to South St. Paul.
Yep. That when South St. Paul was all stockyards.
Yes.
Yes.
Were you also selling cash grain too?
At that time, no, we didn't sell much.
No, not
Fed it all.
probably the 80s.
I don't think we sold much at all. Maybe oats, maybe.
So you were feeding pretty much everything. Just
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there any hogs or anything?
Not very often.
Okay,
Not very often.
because you guys had a pretty good steer shed over at Tim's there too, right? That confinement barn for. So you were feeding a lot of steers in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That had a manure pit under it too, don't? Or
No.
it don't. Okay,
No,
okay.
no. You had the one down here. Got two barns down here, and we had a. Yeah,
Okay, so that's a lot of. So you were feeding out,
quite a few, like over 350, 400.
yeah. Which back then that was a lot of steers.
Yes. Yeah.
So was this obviously when you bought it was the big tractor,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and were you you were probably chopping silage then too?
Yes.
Did you have a Deere chopper or New Holland?
Chopper was. Probably might have been. Can't remember.
It's been a few years, about 60.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I suppose you were baling, you know.
Oh yeah. Baled a lot of. Yes.
Small squares, so you had some barns put
No,
that
we
up
had
there?
a. We had a. First, we had a Minneapolis-Moline wire tied baler. That was. And then we traded and got that little John Deere, and my dad and Guy says, that little thing won't do nothing. Went out and baled more bales than the other one ever did in a day.
Yeah.
'Cause didn't have any problems.
Would that have been like a 14T?
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, the Moline, was a wire-tied baler.
Yeah. Well, we don't even think about it now, but twine was hard to get at one point. I think they finally, like with South America, they kind of figured out how to make the twine down there or something. But I remember at one point them saying
Yeah,
twine was kind of hard to get. But so was the 40/20 on the baler? You think, or that'd be too big?
no, no. I think we had a case tractor at one time too. I don't know if that was ever on the baler though. I can't remember for sure. I drove the balers. Can't remember that for sure. But the other one, we just used a small John Deere on it because we had a 1020 too. John Deere, besides yeah.
So then tillage wise, you were doing the strip till stuff. How many row were you? 4 row back then?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so this, yeah, being the big horse. How long was it the big horse?
That's after I quit, wasn't it? Yeah. 13.
So went to the big case and that. Well, and maybe what we should do is we can have Roger talk for a little bit too about some of that,
Yeah.
because you probably remember that era.
So
Yeah. So you were just saying he just got his driver's license renewed and
Yep.
gonna be 95. So
Yeah.
gonna be
Gonna be.
next week.
yeah.
No, next month.
Well, 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks.
So you're born in 29.
Yep.
Okay. The year of the stock market crash.
Yeah. I guess. I wasn't around then.
Well, right. So, Roger, you and your cousin then came into the operation, what, in the 70s?
Yeah, I did probably 72 because I went UW River Falls for a couple of years.
Okay.
I got an associate degree in animal science, which absolutely did no good for me.
Yeah.
I went to school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
Well, you went to farm short course.
Well, I just went out there one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there after high school.
Okay.
I got out of high school in, what was it, 45, 1945.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 72, and Tim graduated a little bit later than that, right?
Yeah, I think Tim's 5 years older than me.
Younger than you, yeah.
Yeah, younger. I graduated from high school in 1970.
Okay. Because I think you're right. Because he'd be like he graduated with like Ron Webster and stuff.
Could be.
I think so.
Could be. See, I went to Spring Valley
Oh, okay.
because we're right on the tail end.
Yeah, you guys are kind of on the line here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Ellsworth,
Yep.
had to drive all the time. We never had a school bus out this way.
Huh.
Nope. River Falls, Spring Valley, Ellsworth, right together.
Yeah, everything's within a mile
Right.
right here.
Yeah.
Once you get over the 29 bridge over here, it's River Falls.
Right.
Get up north of the county line, that's
Baldwin. Yep.
So 72 though, boy, that was kind of the beginning of the boom in agriculture as far as crop prices went up with the, Great Russian grain robbery was 72.
Yeah, don't really remember that, but yeah. I mean, the crop prices probably didn't matter as much as then because we were feeding it all.
Right. And this area was very dairy. I mean,
Well, yeah, everybody milked cows
yeah.
except us.
Yep.
Probably Faldies didn't either, I don't think.
Nope, they never know.
And probably Knutson's didn't either.
Yeah, Knutson's, I think they milked one herd for a few years. And then they just decided not to do that.
And this is too much.
Yeah. So there's a fair amount of beef cattle kind of in this area.
Yeah, Irwin Geyser had beef cattle. Wally Melberg did. I think Faldies have always had some cows.
Yeah, and they were doing cash grain.
Yeah, they were doing it before we were.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, things. That was kind of an exciting time though for agriculture, because equipment kept getting bigger.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that 1370 case was a huge tractor.
And
Because I can remember we were debating whether to buy a 4430 or the case. Well, the case was another 25, 30 horsepower.
yeah,
And that's what we used on the chopper.
was it close to the same price then too?
Yeah, they were. It might even been cheaper,
Okay.
but pretty close.
And that came from Lapines.
Yep.
Okay. So you get the case after having the 4020 I suppose that had a cab though, which you were pretty excited
Well, yeah,
about
that
cab.
was the first one that had a cab. I never drove it, but
Right. It still was a big deal to have a cab.
well, yeah.
Only thing I ever drove that had a cab was the combine.
I suppose that,
Yes.
which around here when we're combining, well, if you're doing corn, there's a lot of times it can be pretty cool in the fall. It's pretty nice to have that cab. In the summertime when you're doing small grains though, sometimes,
Well, yeah.
Kept the dust away from
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, you put a lot of years in on a mounted picker.
Yes.
That's the first corn sheller we had was a sheller on the back of a 234 International
Okay,
that we had on a The last one was a 730 case.
Okay.
Case, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about those pickers, that they were, as far as pickers went, were pretty good.
They had a front end like a combine. They had stripper plates
Yeah,
where nobody else did.
right.
And the sheller was incredibly simple. It's just a drum that had square knobs on it like that and did a nice job.
Okay. Okay. So
Didn't take long to get rid of that.
Well,
combines
not
change.
very fast.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was.
And pulling gravity boxes, and you had to hook them springs up, on each side of the gravity box, so the spout tracked with
follow.
the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, combines were a real progressive upgrade.
Yeah.
So you guys stayed beef cattle and feeding steers, and then went to started some cash grain somewhere in the 70s, you figured?
Late 70s, early 80s,
Okay.
probably.
Because were you going to Red Wing with your grain then probably?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. 'Cause
So,
Tim and I bought our first truck, I think, in 78
yeah.
for hauling our own.
And we'll probably talk about that. But that's one of your old trucks over there.
Yeah.
that Freightliner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you and Tim started. Was the original idea just to truck your own, and then
Yeah. Yeah, and then everybody, yeah, could you haul ours? And been in half the old grain bins in Pierce County, I think.
well,
That's back when you were hauling it, and they thought they were getting a slave with the truck.
right,
And there's the shovel.
yeah. Some of the grain haulers today probably would not put
They
up
wouldn't
with.
do it. They wouldn't do it. It's funny, after the farmers started buying their own semis, that they put in faster loading.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of 6-inch unloads or 5-inch unloads
many.
and carry-in sweeps anymore, do you?
Yeah.
So, do you remember what that first truck was?
We had a 2000 International, the model number 2000. It had a short hood, had a 250 Cummins, and it was a straight truck.
Okay.
And you kind of shared the cab with the engine a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was the S series.
Nope.
It
nope.
was-
Before that.
Oh, so it was like a Fleet Star 2000.
Before that.
Really?
Yeah. And then we had a 20-foot box on it. And then we were hauling a lot of corn up to Barron then, so then we bought a pup to pull
Okay.
behind it. And used that for a couple of years, and then bought a semi-tractor
Yep.
and
And
a trailer.
what was that first semi?
73 Freightliner.
Okay.
It was painted just like this one,
All right. Did it have a Detroit or a Cummins?
Cummins. Had a 350 small cam that spun a bearing the first year we had it. And so we put a brand new, it would have been 78, because Paul Franzen talked us into putting a brand new big cam 400 in it.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, Cummins had a deal where you could pay for it in 2 years. And, here we are spending $14,000 for an engine to put into a $10,000 truck. But it was a good move.
Did that have Jakes on it then, too?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that's big time. It had 24.5 tall rubber and 411 rear ends and a 13-speed.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big dog then.
So it was just grain hauling, though. You weren't.
Yeah. Yep.
And you mentioned Paul, because Paul was a neighbor, and Paul had a good-sized trucking company.
Yeah. And in fact, the shop that they used to be in Newport, that's where we put the engine in.
Okay.
So they had a place to do it. They had a hoist, and we had some technical advice.
Right. Yeah, Paul and a partner owned Wilson Lions.
Yep.
And I think before that even they had a fleet.
They had trucks.
Yeah, I think they were on with Midwest Coast.
Yeah. Overland Express, Midwest Coast, Perkle.
Oh yeah, Perkle's a famous one.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul had trucks with his brother-in-law,
Okay.
and I think they had a shop in the city someplace at that time.
Well, it's kind of funny too that the other neighbor, Terry Faulty,
He had a couple of trucks, yeah.
yeah, he was one of the early owner operators for Martin Transport.
Yep, yep. So yeah, that's kind of how, Tim and I got our education in trucking. We knew people, and that's how you learn. You either learned it by asking somebody or doing it wrong,
right.
one of the two. And so we always had somebody that knew more about it than we did.
Well, in trucking, I always said trucking and farming really work together.
They're kind of the same,
Yeah.
kind of.
You're going to spend a lot of time alone,
And
long
yeah.
hours, and you have to be somewhat mechanical.
If you aren't, it doesn't work.
Right.
Or you're going to be buying new stuff and hauling grain. That doesn't work either.
No, absolutely. And the nice thing about trucking was it's cash flow for the farm, and it's flexible.
To a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's time to harvest or time to plant, you can park your truck and do the job.
Well, what happened after a while was once you got more trucks, people expected, they sold corn for river open or like now in June.
Right.
Getting toward the end of the month, you got to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
So you're kind of got between a rock and a hard place once in a while. And we had drivers too,
Yeah. How many trucks did you and Tim get to?
either 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, after I took the trucks over, the one year when I'd bought some trailers from K&D and got business up at the elevator in Baldwin that Dennis Egan had. And that fall, I think we had 8 trucks running
Okay.
from various places to try and get stuff done.
Yeah. And so you're trying to farm and trying to truck and
Yeah, got to be too much to try and do both.
yeah. And you like the trucks better, and
Yeah.
cousin liked farming better.
Yep.
So you eventually ended up splitting it was in the 90s, right?
96.
Okay. Yeah. And that didn't break your heart?
No, I mean there's parts about the farming that I miss,
Yep.
obviously.
But if you really want to do some farming, there's plenty.
Well, it's just like now that I'm retired, I wouldn't have to look very hard to go drive a tractor.
No.
Or like I'm doing now, driving somebody else's truck.
Yeah.
You don't have to look too hard to do that.
Right, there's plenty of work around.
And I know how to take care of motors and stuff on bins, or what to do when the slide plugs up and all that. I know how to do that,
Right.
and so it works out good. Works out good for Nate Faldy and works out for Aaron and Matt,
Yep.
because they just flat out don't, this time of year, they don't have time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they can be making more money and doing something better than sitting in a truck.
Right. Yeah. You had a few more tractors though in there before you went. So after that 13.7, you ended up with you went back to Deere, right?
No, we had a 2590
Okay.
after the case. I think we had some trouble with a power shift in that or something, and ended up trying out a 2590 and kept that. And then Tim and I bought the 4430 and the 4630. And then we were pulling a big digger with the 4630, and you just couldn't keep it cool because it was turned to about 180,
Yep.
which is a glorified 4020 engine.
Right.
And so we found a a 7140 Case IH that had 200 hours on it.
Okay.
We bought that. That was actually a pretty nice tractor.
Yeah. Yeah, when the Magnums came out, they were real nice.
I mean, had a good cab on it,
yeah.
power shift. Cummins engine was a good engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah, after that, then I was out of it after that.
And at the time, you guys were still feeding steers at that time yet, right?
Oh yeah, we fed steers. Well, Tim fed steers for quite a while. When I stopped farming, we quit feeding steers down here.
Okay. Yeah, because eventually he switched to heifers for a big dairy, right?
He was raising dairy heifers for several years.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was a time in there.
And I think there was a time in there when he was still feeding steers that he had some colored cattle, because we'd always fed Holsteins for a long time. And fed all corn silage.
Okay.
Except the last couple of years, we went to feeding whole shelled corn,
Yep.
with the pellets.
Yeah.
Incredibly simple.
Right.
Didn't have to haul so much manure either.
Right.
That was the trouble with corn silage. Hauled a lot of it in, hauled a lot of it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and so you had cow-calf pairs, but
When did we sell the cows? Oh, man.
Can't remember.
I would guess around, I think before 80.
Okay.
I think.
So where were you getting the calves? Were you just buying from dairies around the area, or you go to a sale?
Well, South St. Paul, a lot of them came from South St. Paul. We bought bigger cattle.
Oh.
I mean, 700-800 pounds. I can remember us buying once in a while some that weighed 1,100 pounds.
Okay.
It just happened, the price happened to be right,
Yep. So you go up on feeder cattle sale day,
Yeah.
Central Livestock or Haas.
Yeah, we sold everything to Haas.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Remember sitting up in the sale barn a lot of times.
But you never bought a cattle pot for one of the trucks.
Nah. I hauled a load. Pulled a pot once. Jerry Constant was supposed to haul a load for us to Green Bay, and his truck broke down or something, so got a real education. That's the one and only time I pulled a cattle pot. Got over to Green Bay, and their line was broke down or something, so I sat all night with a load of cattle on the truck. And that's not a lot of fun because you hear them banging around back there, and you hope that one didn't go down,
Right.
or something like that. And yeah, so that's my one and only. So I can say I pulled a bull rack.
There you go. Got to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then eventually you kind of moved away from the hopper bottom stuff too, right?
Well, yeah, after I hauled for the elevator in Baldwin quite a while. Well, what really happened up there, Dennis Egan died of a heart attack when he was deer hunting. And so that kind of put an end to the elevator up there. And most of the farmers were starting to buy trucks then, and they would go out and haul a little bit for their neighbors. And there just wasn't any money in it anymore. We saw the same thing happen in southern Minnesota. The same thing happened. Those guys. We used to haul a lot of feed too. We hauled a lot of bean meal.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. And it just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah. Well, the joke about hopper bottoms always what they call them, poverty wagons.
Well, now most of the farmers in Redmond got nicer trucks than the guys that haul for hire.
Oh, I always laugh about that because when I was 19, I'd be hauling grain for Bill Schroeder. And he had a couple of farm trucks, but most of the time we'd grab whatever Hager City Express trucks were around.
Yeah.
And they were new Freightliners at the time. And boy, we really thought we were...
Yeah, you thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're rolling in with them new Freightliners. And now You got farmers that buy brand new day cabs with
Oh,
decked out.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it that completely changed because yeah, it was. I can remember going over to Red Wing, in the '90s, and it was farm trucks were just old cab over the road
Yeah.
trucks.
Well, I was talking to Don Schroeder today, and we were talking about, well, I've got a crank tarp on this trailer out here. It doesn't have electric tarp
Yeah.
on it. And I told Don, I said, most of these guys down here don't remember when we had throw tarps.
Yeah,
And the wind always blew around those silos down there. And more than
Wow.
one guy got picked up off the ground with a tarp.
yeah. Bill always told me that because if I remember right, he had a Wilson flat floor and a Dorsey flat floor that had throw tarps on them yet because he never converted them.
Yeah.
And you'd undo a corner and just pull back a corner, and they'd probe there in that
Oh.
corner, and then which they could plug loads that way too.
Well,
Because
yeah. But guys would help each other. Because,
yeah,
I mean, on a windy day, you were in a hurting way, And, yeah, I mean, our first hoppers all had throw tarps. Man, we thought when we got a roll tarp, man, we had the world by the tail.
yeah,
And now, I got to tell you, Faldy's got electric tarps on both of theirs, and they're nice for old guys like me and everybody else down there that's got, well, I used to have bad shoulders. I've had both of mine replaced, but that kind of stuff is hard on shoulders.
yeah, yeah. I don't even have roller traps, so mine crank pretty hard. You use them in low.
Yeah, they would get that way after a while.
Yeah, that old Wilson of mine is. Well, I've had it for a long time. It's 30 years old this year. It's a '94.
Yeah,
I had a '73 Wilson before that, my first one.
with the corrugated sides.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, Bill has two of them, the aluminum corrugated ones. They call them the strong gated
Yeah.
trailer. And I'd like to have one of them because
Used to see them coming up at Duluth. That's all that came in from the west into Duluth was flat floor grains.
yep,
We used to haul wheat and barley up there because you couldn't get rid of it anyplace else. You'd see them guys coming in. In fact, what a lot of those guys did was they had two trailers. They would drop a trailer in line, and there was a guy that went around to all the elevators up there and dumped trailers. He had an old Cabover International with no doors on it. And that's what he did. Went around and backed under them and dumped them and parked them, and
really,
while the other guy was heading back to North Dakota with the empty trailer,
yeah,
because they used to have to sit in line so long up there, all day.
Oh, I can remember Red Wing even,
Oh.
5-6 hours.
You probably don't remember what the real coal yard was. You know where the park is down there?
Yep.
Across. That's where we used to park, and they called it the coal yard. They used to pile coal there. It was coal dust all over. Oh, it was a dirty, nasty place in the summertime, and hot. Oh, I spent way too many hours of my younger life in Red Wing.
Well, yeah, it was Continental Grain, and they used to call it Camp Continental
Oh,
because they could only dump. I think they could dump maybe 5 trucks an hour or something.
I mean, it's so much different after I started hauling grain in now to what it used to be. I mean, it's duck soup now.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh yeah.
And there's ethanol plants, and there's Randolph has taken some of the pressure off.
Yeah, that's just it. We've got a few different markets
That never
know,
used to be there.
Yeah, we can go to the cities too if we want to.
Oh, we used to go over to Savage every
Yep.
now and then. I hauled a lot of grain into what used to be Pillsbury, out of Baldwin. That was always not such a nice place to go either.
Yeah.
I can remember going into the old elevator, the Harvest States one that was right in almost downtown St. Paul.
Yep.
And then you get up in Minneapolis, where the ballpark is, all the elevators that used to be just north of that.
What was?
There was one WCCO elevator. There was a bunch of old rat holes up in there that were just terrible. Just terrible.
Well, they were, yeah, because what they used to call Minneapolis used to be called like Mill City or
Yeah.
something. 'Cause
Yeah.
all the different mills from the river. Right?
Yeah. I think the only one left standing is that Pillsbury A mill, and that's got apartments in it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so then the furthest elevator now would be elevator D,
Yeah.
ADM, right?
Or there's some up in Fridley. General Mills is up in Fridley, but that's all oats.
Okay.
And there's another couple ones up there just off of University, just south of that. There's a couple of small elevators.
Okay.
But I think they deal in just small grains, probably mostly rail too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that all. Well, we've changed so much from an agricultural.
Yeah. I mean, really, you load it on a truck like going to Randolph. Yeah, it's 50 miles instead of 25, but it's not a big deal,
Right.
you know. Or, going up to Wheeler
Yep.
or, any of the other places. Yeah.
Well, there were guys this spring that were hauling to Claremont
Yeah.
because they were bidding,
I know one of the neighbors over here, he will send corn down to Janesville, Minnesota,
Yeah.
because the guys are hauling bean meal back out of Mankato,
Yeah.
so it probably doesn't cost that much more to get it there.
No. It's pretty amazing to think, especially like for Charles, to see this transition that we've made around here from the small dairies to generally it's corn and soybeans, especially how about the threshing crews and the small grains that think of the small grains that used to get growing around here because you needed
Straw.
you needed
Yeah.
straw.
Yeah.
I can remember the last time we thrashed with a thresh machine, I believe. It was the year that they had hurricanes down south. And Tom was still going to grade school down Martell. And it blew so hard, we lost our straw stack.
Oof.
Yes. He had to push his bike by foot to get home. That's a long time ago, but I mean, jeez. Yeah.
And
And
straw.
before that, I could just remember doing a little bit of when they grew some beans and
Didn't you chop them or something?
loaded them on a truck, and they had the mill over.
That was-
over here, just down the corner.
That's peas.
Peas,
Yeah.
Oh God, that was damn hard work. Then you'd go over there in the wintertime and get the pea ship.
There were not a lot of beans around here till
No.
the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the first beans that we grew on this farm was that's my air compressor spitting the water out.
Yeah.
The first beans that we had in this farm, Tim and I planted.
Yeah.
That we started planting beans.
Yeah, because if a guy was going to cash crop, so very few guys were just strictly cash grain. They'd maybe sell some grain, but so the idea of raising corn was, well, if we have a bad year, at least we'll still have corn for feed.
Yeah. So there wasn't the corn bean rotation.
No, it was
that you see now. I mean, we had cattle. You had a lot of steer manure. That big field across the river until Tim started putting hay on it. I don't think I ever remember anything planted on it but corn.
Yeah.
I mean, been continuous corn for probably 40 years,
Right.
but had lots of steer manure on it.
Yeah, I bet the organic matter levels are really good on that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little different. We did a lot of continuous corn where now you try not to if you don't have to.
Yeah, and beans. I mean, it
Well,
became such an animal feed that it
and and it's so easy to plant no-till corn into bean stubble,
right, and vice versa.
and vice versa. But we tried strip tilling for a while, with Ross and stuff.
Yep.
Just and corn on corn, it did not work the best. And then you find out the guys that were doing it were not doing any continuous corn. They were doing corn, beans, and wheat.
Right.
Like the guys in Michigan that started that. It was just too much stalk, and the ground stayed too cold.
For me, continuous. I run continuous corn right at home because the dryer's there. It's full tillage.
Yeah, it's just, and now you got so much stock now too.
Yeah,
the
and the
stalks
stock.
are like trees.
Yeah, they don't break down like the old days. Where
No. So it's hard. It's hard to do, and it's probably better.
Yeah,
You get some advantage out of rotation.
the beans were a good addition to, the rotation around, But,
Yeah.
But we probably see as many soybean fields around here as you used to see hay fields.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Except in the case like where guys are growing hay. Tim's got a lot of hay. Knutsen's got a lot of hay. And all of a sudden, right now, that's getting to be kind of a serious issue because I don't know how they're going to get the hay cut.
Yeah, the way it's
I
looking.
mean, it's going to be a little muddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well,
You had enough?
yeah. Yeah.
well, I don't blame you.
Well, I'm gonna.
Here, you need some help?
Oh, I gotta.
All right. Well, thanks, Roger.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you could get a chance to talk to Dad. I would guess he's probably one of the oldest retired farmers in Martell Township.
Probably.
There aren't many of those guys left anymore.
Nope.
And I don't think he thought he'd live this long. But he's doing really good. I'll tell you, after Mom passed away 5 years ago, he lived at home for a while by himself, and now he lives in independent living in Baldwin.
Yep.
And that's been really, really good for him. There's people.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing,
Yeah, you don't want to be lonely.
and he eats better,
Yeah.
So he probably wouldn't admit it to me, but I think he likes it there. Especially he can come down and go fishing as long as the river isn't up,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's probably good for him to see the 40/20. I probably hadn't seen that for a little while.
Nope, I don't think so. I don't know if he's probably ever seen it since it was done.
Probably not. Yeah. Yeah, that tractor was completely torn down to
Yeah.
cast
Oh yeah.
and rebuilt.
Yep, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing a couple 50/20s that way
Yeah.
too.
All right. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.